Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're gonna talk about some of the, I guess, most wanted Chucky collectibles that you need in your collection, obviously if you're a big Chucky fan. So this is pretty much gonna be like an educational video where I talk in between like NECA and Trick or Treat Studios, some of the Chucky dolls that they made in obviously different scales, like this one for instance, which is life size. This is about almost 30 inches tall, and obviously some of the smaller scales that you can see right there in the ultimate form, which they are about between 4 and 5 inches tall. So yeah, stick around, it's gonna be a fun video. I'm gonna show you guys a couple of options if you are wanting to start a Chucky collection. So yeah, let's dig in. So the reason that I pretty much took Trick or Treat and NECA, because they are the most, I guess, recent company that are still producing Chucky figures. Oh well, to correct that, actually Trick or Treat here lost the license last year. And again, some people say they lost the license because the license went to NECA. Well, the thing is, NECA already had the license, so again it's still a little bit of a mystery why they lost the license. But yeah, so yeah, I'm only gonna include Trick or Treat Studios and NECA in this video. Obviously in the past, McFarlane Toys did some Chucky figures. There's also Mezco, and obviously Sideshow even did like a life-size Chucky doll from the Bride of Chucky, which is pretty sought after. It's very expensive nowadays on eBay. So let's start here with the life-size ultimate Chucky doll from Trick or Treat Studios. Now the cool thing with this one, the reason why they call it ultimate Chucky here, is because soon after it was released, they've also announced that they're gonna do 2 different head sculpts. This is pretty much the one that comes on the doll, and then they also made like a Tommy head right there and the pizza face Chucky from the 3rd movie. So this is pretty cool. Again, those are about, I'd say, $200 a piece when they would went up for pre-order just before obviously Trick or Treat lost their license. So again, it's still a little bit shame, because they made some great 1-to-1 scale dolls which are relatively affordable. Again, this guy was $500, and then there's $200 for each head, which again is very expensive, because now we're like $1,000. Then they made also some accessories here, which is pretty cool. Again, this is the voodoo knife. They also made like a different type of knife, like a boot knife, which I also had, but that thing was very cheap. So again, this is pretty cool, because when I compare this one to let's say the 1-to-1 scale NECA ones, those don't have extra hands. I know like the Bride of Chucky obviously has like opposing hands, so you can put stuff inside like knives and whatnot, but this one was actually pretty cool because they made some extra accessories for this one. Plus, if you're getting like the extra heads, you also have some interchangeable hands right there. And I believe also they made an extra pack of hands soon after they lost the license, which actually include like a nephew hand, which was supposed to release with that head right there, but ended up not giving it. So it's only with the Tommy head that you have 2 extra hands, which is pretty cool. But again, the details on this guy is fantastic. Again, they say like they share the same technology as NECA, so it's pretty much like a foam body with an articulated, I guess, wire mesh inside, so you can pretty much pose the body however you want. However, you have to still be very careful, because the foam body can still rip, although you're not necessarily gonna see that because obviously you have the suit. So this is pretty cool. You have the clothing right there, very nice and very accurate suit to the movies. I know some of them have the shoes here, the white parts actually get yellowed. I'm not sure why that happens. Again, this one is pretty white. The one that I had before actually it started to get yellow, so I'm not sure if that's like the condition in the room or it's like a paint stuff. It's quite a weird process that happens. But again, this one is very nice, especially the paint application on this pizza face is fantastic. Obviously the eyes are movable. Again, make sure to watch. I made 2 videos on this one. I made a review, and then I made a separate video where I talk about these extra heads. But again, they're very nice. I think $200 is a little bit steep in terms of pricing, I guess, because you're pretty much getting a head with movable eyes. Again, the details are very nice. Also, what I did with this, I ended up cutting the hair because the length was actually almost 2 inches longer than what it is here. And again, looking at some screenshots from the movie, especially part 3 here, his head, you know, his hair, I mean, doesn't touch the shoulders. So again, there's some stuff that you can do to customize you know, yours to make it more accurate. Again, make sure to watch that review. Also, I cut the hair right there in front, you know, to make it more accurate. But again, this is my favorite head that they've made. Also, this is like, I guess, the stock head, which again, some people say it's from part 2, some people say it's from part 3. Again, it's hard to know, but this one is very fantastic, especially when you're posing his eyes to the side. I think this one looks fantastic. So yeah, this one was from Trick or Treat. Obviously, they made some, I guess, you know, dolls from the Seed of Chucky, which honestly I'm not a big fan of. They also made like an ultimate good guy, but again, for $500 or $600, I think that's a missed opportunity, especially on the Chucky one from Seed. The prototype looked very awesome, especially with how the hair strands were, but the final product was a little bit, you know, I guess off to the side. So let's take a look at the NECA ones that I have. Okay, so these are pretty much like the ultimate dolls that I have from NECA. Again, there's only 4 here, plus I have the retro cloth, which we're gonna take a look at in a couple of seconds, because obviously what's cool about this, if you get the retro cloth ones, those are in scale with like 1 scale figures, which is pretty cool. So again, depending on your budget and space, you can either get the 1-to-1 scale dolls, which are again more expensive. They are between $500 and $600, or you can get like these ultimates one. Again, this is the first one that I got a couple years ago. This is the Good Guy Ultimate. Again, very nice box, pretty much like in the movies, you know, the yellow box that they come in here. And again, this at the time was pretty much the best, you know, child's play figure that NECA made. As you can see, you have the box right there in the back, which you can put the figure on. Again, they gave some cool heads from Seed of Chucky. This is from obviously part 3 here, from the first movie. And you have like a good guy right there. And then you have some different accessories. Again, the voodoo knife, that right there, which is from part 2. Again, the boot knife. Got the baseball bat, the ruler right there, the hammer. Again, this is fantastic. Again, the pistol, the knife right there. Again, this was the first one that I got. I believe I got this one. If I can look at the barcode right there. It's a little bit blurry. Come on, 2017. So damn, that's a while ago. And then they came out with this 2-pack right there. Obviously, it comes with Chucky and Tiffany from The Bride of Chucky, which is my favorite movie right there. So again, awesome set. Again, the box is very nice. It's a little bit bigger than you know, your typical ultimate box. But again, this one has a lot of goodies inside, which is pretty cool. Again, so you have 3 heads per figure right there. Obviously from The Bride of Chucky. And they pretty much use these molds to make like the retro cloth figures. They're only different to those. They have actual clothing. And again, they match pretty much like 1/6 scale, so that's very cool. Again, you have the baser right there, the turkey baser. You have the axe. Again, just a lot of accessories, man, with this one. Pretty much to this day, this is the set that has the most accessories. With Chucky here from NECA, so it's pretty cool. Again, those heads are very gnarly. And you have some different looks here from Tiffany. Right there with the shovel, which is pretty cool. And then one of the last ones that I got from NECA, this is from the TV series, I believe it's season 1. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, I got this thing like 3 years ago, so again, very nice box. I'm still wanting to get like the 1-to-1 scale puppet of from NECA from the TV show right there, which is pretty cool. So yeah, this is the Ultimate TV series figure right there. It has a bunch of heads from most of the scenes. I like this one a lot. As you can see right there. Also, they made, like I said, there's also some blind boxes. There's like 2 series of those from the TV show, which is pretty cool. So again, this one has 4 heads total. Obviously, I like this one. You have the FU finger right there, which is very nice. Yeah, this is pretty much one of the best as of right now. But I think the contender of best Chucky figure, obviously if you're not talking about 1-to-1 scale, is gonna be, I think, the Ultimate Chucky from Child's Play 2, which is one also my favorite movie. It's in between that and like the Bride of Chucky. So also that's supposed to release soon. I've seen some pictures of people that are already gotten theirs from Target, so that make sure you check your local Targets. Who knows, maybe you can be lucky and get yours a little bit sooner. So also they made like a single pack version of Chucky from the Bride of Chucky. As you can see, this one only contains Chucky himself and not Tiffany. I think it's a little bit weird, but this one back in the day was the only way you could get Tiffany, is to get this 2-pack. Now again, you can pretty much purchase her if you're getting like the blind box, which again is still that doesn't guarantee that you're gonna get Tiffany. So again, having a look at this guy, again, pretty much similar box, just a little bit smaller, so you can see Chucky right there. And what I've noticed with this one is the paint application is a little bit better on Chucky than what he is in the 2-pack. So again, I'm gonna try to show you guys the differences here. It's gonna be a little bit tricky because of obviously the glare of the box. So again, if I can show you right there, again, it's not gonna be easy to see, but the paint application is a lot crispier, especially on the slashes on the face, versus this one, which was a little bit older. So that's something you may consider. Again, I'm not sure how rare the 2-pack is or this one, but again, it's pretty cool. And he has pretty much some of the accessories from this set. Again, not all of the accessories, but again, it's pretty cool. So I have a couple of hands right there, the axe, the gun right there. So this is something, again, you can consider. And finally, here I have the retro cloth figures. But again, what's cool about these are pretty much in scale with like 1/6 scale figures. So if I'm putting this one as next to Leatherface right there, as you can see, it's pretty small. But again, I think the scale works, considering like a life-size Chucky is supposed to be between 28 and 30 inches tall. I guess these look very nice next to 1/scale figure. So this is again is an option for you if you're collecting 1/scale figures. This will look very nice in your collection. Plus they have like cloth goods, which do make them a little bit better. But again, these have pretty much the same head sculpts as the ultimate set that I've just showed you from Bride of Chucky, and they do come with some accessories. Again, this one has 2 heads, as you can see right there. It's almost like a grimace, but again, the paint application is fantastic on these, so that's something you can consider. If again because what's interesting, no company out there made an official 1/scale Chucky. So again, this is a great I guess replacement. Whoever, maybe a Sideshow or Hot Toys would make a Chucky set one day, but in the meantime, this will do the trick. And here's a little bit of a slideshow of pretty much, I guess, all of the options available out there. Obviously, some of these I haven't gotten in the collection myself. So as you can see, here's the upcoming Chucky and Tiffany. This is again from NECA. These are 1/1 scale dolls that I am tempting to get these, but as you can see in these pictures, there's a little bit of a downgrade, because again, what NECA teased when they showed the prototype is, again, they use pretty much silicone hands in the face, so obviously those were a lot more detailed. But again, I have to see how these actually look in hand, because as you can see, especially Tiffany right there, she's very wide in the face. Again, Chucky has his hands look obviously overscaled, but again, these are the prototypes that they've made for the Bride of Chucky, and as you can see, they've pretty much used like a silicone face. Again, the paint application is fantastic. The hair is hand punched inside the silicone individually, which is fantastic. But obviously, this is not what we got as a final product. This is pretty much how the final product looks. So you can see, it's not too bad in terms of this one. Again, I used to own this one a couple years ago, but I sold it because when I got mine, and I got the second batch, which is there's a difference. There's more green on the shirt and there's more dirt around, but this one obviously had like a paint, I guess it was a QC issue on the face, so I sent it back to NECA. They actually offered me a refund to keep the figure, but I sent it back. So again, the Tiffany here looks very awesome. Obviously, these are pretty much sold out everywhere nowadays. They're relatively hard to come by. I remember the first batch sold very fast, and then people were asking like $1,000 for these on eBay, which is pretty crazy. But then they made like a second batch. So who knows, with NECA, they are notorious for reissuing the figures. And this is pretty much the first series here of the blind box Chucky from the TV series. So again, this is a blind box. I believe if you are buying these from the NECA store, you can pretty much guarantee to get one of each if you are buying like the bundle, which for instance on the second series it was about $175. Then you get all the figures you know, in the second series. So again, that's a pretty cool option, again, if you are a big fan of the series, and again, if you are a huge Chucky fan. If you don't have space for like the one-to-one scale dolls, again, this is something that, you know, can fit more in your budget, because again, the one-to-one scale dolls are between $500 and $600. We're getting a look here in a few minutes on the you know, the old Chucky. As you can see, that's like the small ultimate scale, but they also made a one-to-one scale version, which that one sold very fast. It was like 500 in the world ever made, and it's gonna be made by Tony Gardner, which pretty much did the, you know, the puppets in the TV series, as well as the Seed of Chucky, and then what's the other movie, Cult of Chucky. He also made the puppets for those movies, so that's pretty cool. Again, this is more pictures here of the of Chucky here from the TV series. This obviously, again, I think this one is from Child's Play 2, which again is coming out very soon. I think that's gonna be the best contender here for best ultimate Chucky. Obviously it's one of my favorite movies. I like the look here, but they made a couple of ones here which are pretty cool. As you can see, this one from like Thanksgiving here. You have the carving Chucky, I guess. I forgot his name here, but you have the, and again, this is pretty much the ones that's gonna come very soon. I've seen some people already on Facebook that got theirs from Target, so if you live in the States, you might go and check that out. You might get lucky, because I believe that thing, obviously I think it leaked. NECA hasn't officially, they've announced it like a couple weeks ago, but I think Target made the leak, and then obviously I made a video about that. I thought it was fake at first, but no, it's real. So again, they also made a 1/3 scale Chucky here, as you can see, which again, the only reason that I think that they've made this, because again, a lot of people have the 1/3 scale statues of the horror icons, so they thought that maybe if they're gonna make a 1/3 scale Chucky, a lot of those collectors are gonna buy the Chucky, you know, to display with their 1/3 scale. Obviously PCS has made some you know, ECC, so again, that's pretty cool of them. But here again, more of those blind box Chucky figures here. And there's also one that I haven't gotten. I believe it's from the end of season 2. It's an ultimate scale Chucky. It's like the Christmas. He has the Christmas gear on, which is this one right there in front of the screen, as you can see. Again, this one is still available, so I might get this one just to complete the, you know, to add it to the collection. As you can see, it has a chainsaw. You have the Christmas hat right there, and there's a lot of blood on this one. I believe you can swap the arms out, which is pretty cool. And again, this is I believe from series 1. This is the Colonel, which again, this guy was very funny in the Chucky series. And again, this is the ultimate one that I have from Trick or Treat Studios. Again, this one has swappable hands, and as I showed you, it comes with the different heads, which is pretty cool. And this is from Trick or Treat as well, from the Seed of Chucky, Tiffany here. I haven't seen this one in person, so I can't really comment on how good she is, but based on the review, again, fans like her. And again, this is the old Chucky here, which is exclusive. Again, I've made a video on this guy. It's pretty cool. Again, this comes from the same molds as from the 3rd season, which is pretty cool actually. And there's 500 only of this guy, which is getting made. So again, this one sold out in a couple of hours, which does not surprise me. And this one, I think I can expect the price to go up once you know, it releases, which is supposed to be very soon. But as you can see, very nice details in the hands. This one, again, I didn't order this one because again, it's $525, you know, with shipping and everything. It's ended up being a little bit expensive, plus I wanted the other doll from NECA. But this is pretty cool here, what they did here in collaboration with obviously Tony Gardner, who made the recent you know, Chucky dolls from the TV series and the latest movies. So again, this is pretty cool. You can see Tony right there. But also, from what I've heard, there's actually a brand new movie coming out next year. There's one of the reasons that they kind of cancelled, I guess, the Chucky series after season 3, which is, again, it's a little bit unfortunate. So guys, as usual, thanks for watching. Make sure to give me a like, subscribe to the channel, and as usual, stay safe out there. See you soon on the next video. Take care, guys. Have a great day. Bye bye.